The Supreme Court of the United States of America upholds and expands parental rights and religious freedom. You know, this last few weeks, toward the end of June here, has seen a dramatic list of opinions from the Supreme Court of the United States. And of course, the one that most people are talking about is the overturning of Roe v. Wade and sending the issue of abortion back to the state legislatures. And that is a great victory. But we've seen a number of opinions that have actually strengthened and expanded the fundamental right of parents to make decisions for their children and an empowering or an increasing support of religious freedom in the country. Let me tell you about a couple of those cases. The first one was a case that came out of the state of Maine, and Maine has a school choice program. Maine is in many places a rural state, and they allow, in some areas there are schools, lower level schools, but in the area there's not a high school. And so as a result of that, Maine has a program in which they will allow a parent in those situations to choose a private school, private high school to send their children to, and the state will pay the tuition of that school. So that's been around for a long time, but there is a discriminatory aspect of that, and that aspect is that law only allows parents to choose a school that is sectarian, that is not religious or not a Christian school. And so some families filed suit against the state of Maine, and they argued that this was an unconstitutional imposition on their right as parents and on their First Amendment religious liberties. So this week, the Supreme Court of the United States actually agreed with those parents, and they said that parents should be able to choose any school they want, and if a state is offering assistance in a general way, it cannot discriminate against schools because of their religious nature. And so this was a 6-3 decision. So the new majority on the U.S. Supreme Court upheld that position. The three liberal members of that court, the three leftist members of that court, really opposed that position, arguing that the state should be able to oppose or restrict the religious freedoms of parents under the guise of remaining separate from the state. So that is a great win for parents and families. It's a great win for religious freedom. It expands the right in Maine for these parents to choose what school their children go to. And I think it's a sign for other states that look at the opportunity to choose funding that follows the child and is not restricted by simply choosing secular institutions. Now, at the same week that I read about this, there was another high-profile article about our former U.S. Attorney General, William Barr. And William Barr spoke recently in which he said that he believes our culture is our Western civilization is in the greatest danger it's been since the times of Christ. Now, that is a pretty strong statement. But here's what he said, and as he said these things, he was really reflecting some of the comments of our founding fathers. He reflected the idea that you must have morality in order to have virtue, and that our founding fathers understood this. In fact, John Adams, one of our founding fathers, said that the U.S. Constitution was wholly designed to govern a religious people, and it was completely inadequate for any other. So here's how William Barr explained that. What he said was that people are restrained by either an internal restraint or an external restraint. And his point was the same as our founding fathers, that religion or Christianity, or what we might call the Judeo-Christian ethic, is designed to help us inculcate our citizens with an internal restraint, so that we choose not to do certain things and we choose to do certain things. So that's what John Adams meant when he said that this Constitution that gives us many freedoms is not designed to govern an unreligious people. And as a result of that, what we see in history is when a people do not have those internal restraints, that leads to more and more constraints by the external, that is the government, which typically results in a loss of freedom. So William Barr is arguing that this is a huge problem, and the one way he says we should address that problem, in fact, he goes on to say that our public education system is a secular system that is at war with Christianity. And I think that is not a difficult thing to see across this country. In fact, we've just been watching over the last year or two where public school boards are visibly restraining, sometimes physically or legally restraining parents. They are pushing back against parents who oppose critical race theory, who oppose this gender ideology that is being pushed in our public schools. And that's exactly what William Barr is talking about. And he says there's not a panacea. There's not one solution, one silver bullet to that problem. But he says one solution is a solution that we just talked about. And that is a solution where we adopt funding that follows the child and allows parents to choose the education of their children. And of course, we would follow that without government restraint. So what we're hearing is the same sort of thing that the U.S. Supreme Court was saying in regard to the Maine decision. We should give parents more authority to choose the education of their children, including Christian education, moral, traditional, Judeo-Christian training. And that is not the total solution, but his point was, and I agree with it, that the days in which we had a public education system that was neutral to Christianity is gone. So I agree with that. That is the reason we see homeschooling exploding today, and we see the growth for and the support for parental rights and what I would call parental choice, where we allow parents to choose the education of their children, and we have the funding follow that child instead of strictly going to an institution, is growing. So I hope we will see that in the next legislative session. So I hope you'll share this video with your friends. I hope you subscribe to our channel. Go to thsc.org, follow us on social media, and thank you for helping us keep Texas families free.